Think about it.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, it just shows you like beating teams at certain times is so, especially this year, more than ever this year, because again, you're beating teams like yesterday, Oklahoma. Like that win could end up getting Oklahoma into the NCAA tournament at the end of the day. I think they'll be in no matter what. I think they'll be reason. But let's say Oklahoma goes through a rough stretch. That win against Texas, how much, and I talked to David Warlock about this yesterday in a pod that people should really watch, because there was a lot of good information there from Dave Gavitt and David Warlock from the NCAA. But one of the things I asked him was like, how are you going to judge teams coming back from pauses, playing their first game, teams playing without guys? And there's no easy answer to it, Rob. That's the thing. It's up to each committee member to decide how they want to approach that. And are you giving Oklahoma the same level of win for beating a Texas team without two starters and their head coach? Or are you just throwing everything out and just saying, like, listen, it's a year like Stanford. I talked to Jared Haas. I'm going to write something about them tomorrow. They haven't been in there. They've been in a hotel since the start of the season. They have not played. They're finally going to play in Maples Pavilion in a few weeks for the first time on Super Bowl Sunday. But they have stayed in a hotel all year. So if they're in the bubble, Rob, like, don't you, if you're a committee member, don't you give them the benefit of the doubt? And if they're in the bubble with 6 other teams, aren't you saying to yourself, like, yeah, I'm going to give it to Stanford. They've had shit against them all year.
I don't
know.
It's such a slippery slope if you do that, though, because every team is going through it right now. Like, what team is not dealing with a bunch of shit like that?
Yeah. Well,
I know for a fact that you're not the only team that's living in a hotel.
What other high major is?
Isn't what Duke's been living out of a hotel, haven't they?
All year.
At least they were earlier this season.
I don't think so.
There's teams. Villanova, when they went through their 3-month quarantine, was stuck in a hotel room. So, like, look, everybody is going through it, but
they haven't been in their dorm room all year, is what I'm saying. They've
it's been especially rough on Stanford because of what their county's regulations are. But it's not like it's not necessarily unique, right? Yes, okay. There are some schools in some states that where the government of those states and those elected officials may believe that the pandemic is a hoax, right? Okay, so maybe those guys are having a little bit of an easier time. They're able to get into practice and do this, that, and the third. But I think Stanford is not the only team that's like just been going through it. Everybody is. So it's
Agreed.
like, yeah, on the one hand, I understand what you're saying, but on the other hand, like, you can go through a list of like 50 different schools that have all of this stuff going on, and I don't think that you can. I think you have to take everything at face value. I don't think that you can say, okay, we're going to throw this team a bone because they had a particularly difficult situation. Everyone in America is going through it.
Yeah, I mean, some again at different levels is, I guess, what I'm saying. So are you just saying, I don't care who you're missing on what day this year, injuries, COVID, whatever, I don't care. We're not going to look at any of that. Do you do that?
No, I mean, I think you do it like you would any other season, right? Like, there's going to be games where you lose
so much. There's so much to look at then. If you're going to do it that way, the committee is not going to be. I mean, I guess you have a list.
I just think that you can't go into this just saying, okay, we're going to look at this specifically, we're going to look at that specifically. You just have to take everything as you get it, right? Like, there's going to be games where you say, okay, yes, Texas lost at home against Oklahoma. Should we knock them that much because Shaka Smart wasn't there and they were down 2 starters? So, like, those are the things that you have to pay attention to. I don't think that, there are games during the season where, like, you have your star guard sprains an ankle and is out for a week, and you go 0-2 in those games. And yes, the committee will take those into account, but it's not like a complete deal breaker, right? Like, everybody's got weird things that happen during the season. Yep. So I don't think that you should necessarily take all of that into account because everybody's going through it. Everybody's going through it.